Welcome to the Healing Circle. I'm Christine, founder of Embodied Energy Wellness, a shamanic energy practitioner and soul guide. This is a space for honest conversations about healing, awakening, and the moments that shape us. We all carry a story, and this is a place where those stories can be shared, witnessed, and gently healed, together in community. This isn't about fixing yourself, it's about remembering yourself. Take a deep breath. You're very welcome here. Before we begin, I want to gently let you know that this episode includes a personal story shared by my guest. Some themes may include trauma, grief, pregnancy, or baby loss, or sensitive life experiences. This story is shared willingly and with care, and I invite you to listen in a way that feels safe and supportive for you. As always, you're welcome to pause or step away at any time. Today, I'm joined by Amarie, a psychotherapist, a Reiki master, and Yoga Nidra facilitator, whose work and lived experience speak deeply to the realities of healing within intimate relationships. After 2 divorces and a sudden ending to her narcissist relationship, Amarie found herself on a path of deep self-inquiry and repair. One that revealed how even with awareness, training, the tools, we can still carry unconscious patterns, often rooted far beyond our own lifetime. Through therapy, Reiki, Yoga Nidra, and ancestral healing, time in nature, and strong community support, Amarie has been working to gently unravel these cycles and reclaim a healthier relationship with herself and intimacy. She now holds healing circles both online and in person, and her work is deeply grounded, compassionate, and deeply human. I'm honoured to welcome her into the Healing Circle today. Amarie, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Very happy to be here, Christine.
Great, I am so happy you're here, and I'm just really honoured that you've come onto this call and to share your story. First, maybe let's just ground ourselves into our sacred space. So just invite you just to root into wherever you're sitting or lying down. Close down your eyes, connect to your breath. Take a nice deep inhale in through the nose and exhale. Again, deep inhale in and let it go. Once more, deep breath in and release. And we're going to open up sacred space, calling the spirits of the east, air, spring, new beginnings, calling the spirits of the west, water, autumn, healing, calling the spirits from the north, earth, winter, grounding, and calling the spirits from the south, fire, summer, passion, and we call on the spirits from above, ascended masters, archangels, guardian angels, spirit guides, and spirit animals, and we call in spirits from below, our ancestors, the wisdom in our bones, those that have come before us, and those that will come after us. And we call in the central flame that reconnects and burns in each and every one of us. And so it is. We can open our eyes. Our sacred space is open. Amarie, divinely held. Share your story.
So my story is that I, as you said, I was married twice, divorced twice. My first marriage, I had 2 beautiful children who are now adults, 26 and 28. That marriage ended when I was pregnant with my second daughter. So I'm a single mum. I brought up my 2 children together, although I did I did get married again. When my children were 7 and 5, I met another man. I got married about 4 years after we met, and that marriage again ended in divorce, as he was very verbally, psychologically abusive. So after 10 years, I left that marriage, and so ended up yet again divorced and single. And so it took me a long time to get over that. That's when I started my training as a psychotherapist. I then went on to do the Reiki and became a Reiki master. And from there, then I went on to do facilitating in Yoga Nidra and holding healing circles. And I believed I had done a lot of work on myself, had a lot of therapy as well as healing, Reiki, massage, just everything that you can think of. I went down that path. And so I eventually thought, after 8 years of being single again, after that marriage broke down, I thought I was ready to enter into the space of inviting in a new relationship. And again, I'd done a lot around that manifestation, working with the moon, letting go, releasing, and inviting in. And so I really felt ready. I felt like I'd done all the work I needed to invite in a new conscious relationship. That's what my desire was, to invite in a man who had done his own work, and where we could build a relationship together. And so I met this man online on Match.com, and he seemed very honest and open online. The only thing is, what I would say is, looking back, when I saw his photos, I did kind of immediately think they were a little bit staged. But again, I didn't listen. I didn't listen to my gut.
Warning sign.
Maybe, they're only photographs. You have to meet in person before you actually can make any informed decision. And so one of the things I liked was, he said, I don't like to chat endlessly online. I prefer to meet in person. So I was like, oh, this sounds really positive. So we met on Killarney Beach, actually, into your healing circles. And again, just the way I suppose we work as humans, he arrived late, but he arrived at 11:11.
Oh, okay.
And I took that as here we go. This must be a destined meeting. So again, immediately you're kind of, I suppose, your guards are down or whatever. But anyway, he arrived on his motorbike, which was one of the things I didn't like about his profile. He arrived on his motorbike, and when he took off his helmet, there was just some kind of a connection immediately, some kind of like I knew him. And he wasn't Irish, he was South African. And we got talking, and when I look back now, we went for a big long walk on the beach, and he basically, now I see, regurgitated a story and just told me this whole story of his life. And again, I believed this was, look at this, he's so open, he's so honest, he's so connected. And so anyway, from there, we did end up getting into a relationship about 3 weeks later. He asked me, would I like to be in a relationship with him? Looking back now, I feel that was very quick. But of course, at the time, I was like, this just seems destined. This seems like the right thing. Within about 4 weeks, he told me he loved me. And again, looking back, it's like there were so many signs of that love bombing, narcissistic personality back, when I look back. But anyway, so basically we had a relationship for over 2.5 years. He had 2 grown children. He did tell me now at the beginning that he had grown up as a born-again Christian, but he was no longer part of that religion because he'd been ostracized from the church, and there was a lot of sort of questioning, I suppose, in my mind as to what had happened, but never really went down the path of questioning, because when I look back, I see that there were probably a lot of things I didn't really want to admit to myself about him. But he said so many things that, again, was what I wanted. It was like, he was really into earth energy, working with, grounding, nature, also energy modalities that I would really be into, connecting with walking outside, in the sea, so many areas that seemed very aligned to what I wanted. He also really wanted to move to the country and move out of, he lived in Drogheda, I lived in Dublin, out into nature, to be somewhere closer, to the sea. And so we had gone down the road of looking to get a mortgage, to move down to
Wow, so it was fast.
Yeah. All of this. And when I look back now, it seems like, it's almost like, wow, where was I? Like, why was I not like present and seeing what was really happening?
There's something coming in here. Would you have most of your life on social media at that point?
I would have, I am on Instagram, and I would have had, whereas that's what I believe now, like he had nothing online.
But I was wondering, did he do his homework? That's what's coming in here, is like he sussed you out and could tell you everything that you wanted to hear. So he was selling you the red herring, like, come at me. I have the same likes. Yeah. And I'm getting a very, and not like just a very, very creepy energy from him. Very creepy.
Oh yeah, well that's what I found out subsequently, once we'd eventually, he basically left one day to the next. He got up, left, and I never heard from him again.
That's hard. Right. It's like as if, he told you everything that you needed to bring you along in this journey. And I'm like I said, like, there was red flags, but sometimes when we have this, we're like, this is manifesting, like, and that's, I think, where the toxic kind of spiritual side of thing comes in, where it's like, manifest this and it'll drop into your lap, And I think it's all about, like, when we're manifesting anything into our lives, it's about vibration and frequency. And if we're at it, and I'm not saying you're at low vibration, but what I'm saying is, in terms of our healing journey, if we haven't healed from previous relationships, we're already at a frequency that's low, okay? And we attract the same frequency to us.
Absolutely.
And that's why you keep making these, like, it plays out again and again and again. Because we feel that person's going to save us. They're going to uplift us. They're promising the sun, moon, stars, and then we ignore the red flags.
Absolutely. You're so right, Christine. That's exactly what it was. And I didn't see until really after that's exactly what he'd done. He checked out everything on my social media, on who I was, what I liked, all of it. Yeah, completely, like, did his homework, and so manipulative and charming, and
He said everything right.
Said all the right things, and said the things like, your two husbands just didn't understand you, they didn't see what a beautiful person you are and how empathetic, and I can see that, and
yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, do you know something, Christine? Now I'm not, because he gave me a gift of seeing the patterns that I just end up in, and now it's almost like I see it now that I was under a spell.
Yeah.
It was like he just put me under a spell, and I just could not see, even though there were those little inklings, those little things that were kind of tapping on my shoulder. I didn't want to address them, because he had really sold a story to me that I completely fell for.
Have you forgiven yourself?
I have. It took a long time to well, I wouldn't say it took a long time this time, to be honest, because I think I had done so much of the work that I realized eventually, again, with a lot of help, that this was not about me.
Oh, 100%. This was a man clearly trying to take advantage of you.
Yeah.
And then, so we go back to the previous relationships. What energies were those relationships in terms of between you and your husbands? Was it kind of the same energy, or were you feeling supported, held in those relationships?
So my first husband, who's the father of my children, was 9 years older than me. And I
Okay.
see now that really I was looking for someone to look after me, someone to kind of, love me and I suppose mind me. And of course, that's all, we're always looking for someone to love us, and that's really, I felt, because again, he was married before, but he was older. And so I believed, because he's older, of course,
He knows what he's doing.
mature, he knows what he's doing, all of that. But of course, when I had my son, I suppose just once children were involved, he, didn't like the fact that he wasn't the center of attention anymore. And then when I was pregnant with my daughter, he had an affair, and then left when my daughter was about 5 weeks old. And eventually I moved back to Ireland. I was living in England at the time. I moved back to Ireland with my children to, live on my own with them for a few years.
And isn't it like a gift for your children to come in when they did? Because they do give us strength.
Yeah.
That was like, I had my daughter at 19, and me and my ex, we split when I was 21. And I, like, all the red flags were like, this is not what you want. This is not where you're supposed to be. And it was, with my daughter being born, it was like a further kind of confirmation, kind of like, I can do this and break away because she's given me that strength. And it's like there's a little person that is relying on me. And I feel when they come in, it's a blessing. It's like, we're here to teach you, but they also save you at the same time.
Absolutely, yeah. I would absolutely say, my children are definitely the biggest blessings of my life.
Yeah, mine too. Just in terms of going back a little bit, so because I'm like, so in my role in shamanic counseling is I'm the ego, like, and I'm not saying now from an ego point of view, but I like to see the higher perspective, and that's my role in this conversation, is seeing the higher perspective, okay? And what I feel is coming in is I keep hearing the word father wound. So I'd like to kind of go back, because our listeners might not understand that an ancestral pattern that develops, an ancestral trauma is coming down each generation until the black sheep, or the one, the cycle breaker, comes in and literally is like, not having this, I'm going on my healing journey, I'm going to heal myself to have a ripple effect to my ancestors coming here before me and also after me. So if you're healing, you're actually healing your children, your grandchildren, your great-great-grandchildren. Like, it works literally both ways. Can you give us an insight into when you were a little girl?
Yeah, so this is one of the things I've really realised this year, actually. So when I was 12, my parents separated.
Yeah.
And we moved house, so we moved from Foxrock to Bray. And but one of the things I only recently, probably earlier this year, because Basil left last December, very abruptly, the 5th of December. And so this year, with all the work I've been doing and trying to, see the learnings and the, what is it that this is trying to teach me, I realized that my father actually left without saying goodbye to me. So I had been babysitting the night before. Can you imagine babysitting at the age of 12?
I know, it's mad, isn't it?
I was I think I was very responsible from a very young age, which again, I think, it was that something. But he left without saying goodbye to me. So I came back home from babysitting because I'd been there overnight, and I came back in the morning and he was gone. And I was literally just told, like, I knew they were separating. I knew we were selling the house. I knew we were moving to Bray. I knew all of that. But I was told he'd left. And when I look back now, I see that my thing is that he left and he never said goodbye to me.
100%. Like, that's your whole world just shattered.
Yeah.
You know? And it is then that starts that we, like, our root chakra is our security and our safety. And when that is taken away from us and all that we knew, you know, our root chakra then starts getting into a stagnant energy, and might even stop spinning in a circular direction. And that's when anxiety starts building up within us, and that ungrounded, and that fear comes in of, if I love someone, I'm going to overly love them to the point where I'm afraid they're going to leave me. And you literally step away from yourself.
Yeah.
And mold yourself into someone that is able to be accepted by other people.
Yeah.
And that is the trauma response of it, you know?
Yeah. And it's one of the things I've realised this year, just from all the work I have been doing on myself, that's where the pattern has been. And I have just abandoned myself all along. I've abandoned my needs because, again, our root chakra, as you said, it's all around meeting our needs. And what are they? And I just outsourced them. I just gave them to whatever man came my way, you know?
Yeah. And, like, you know, that is a normal trauma response, you know? Like, I have a father wound, you know what I mean? My dad had mental health issues, he had manic depression. Yeah, and my mum and dad split when I was 18. Well, I actually had to ask my mum to come with me to help her tell him to leave the house, because she wouldn't do it. Oh, she buried her head in the sand. So it was one day, he was very abusive, and one day he bent me up in the sitting room, my mum was in the bedroom, and I just said, enough's enough. Like, I was the psycho breaker, and I was the only one that was calling out everything, going, this isn't acceptable. And I can see from my dad's point of view now, he's passed now in 2013, but I could see if he's suffering from mental health and there's this strong little 18-year-old that's not afraid of him, I say he was completely, what do I do, you know?
Yeah.
And so the reaction was, I'll beat her up. Do you know what I mean? Because that's all he knew. But I remember going into my mum and just saying, Mum, he's after beating me up again. I'm not having this. I'm gone. Or we get rid of him. And she held my hand and says, I don't want to lose you. I'm ready to let him go. And the two of us, I held her hand going down the hall, and I knocked on his door because they'd split up in different bedrooms. And I said, you're out. And he laughed in our faces and said, you know, you'll be dying for me to come back. And I said, no, we won't. And he left. And Jesus, the whole energy of the house just lifted. You know? But like that, I can totally relate to that. Projected me onto a path of the father wound. Like, you know, choosing those men that you knew deep down were not for you, but you were so hell-bent of the fear of rejection, the fear of abandonment, that you molded around these men to just be loved.
Yeah.
And when we could be going through 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, like all the way up.
Yeah.
And the universe is just throwing the curveballs. Here's another man. Here's another man. Let's see if she's learned. Come on, let's see. We'll throw another curveball. Throw that man in her path there and see what she does. And I tell you, I always say our guides do be breaking their heart laughing at us, because they're like, look, this is what she wants to heal from, and she has the red flags. She's seeing the red flags. We're giving her the red flags. We're pulling at her, going, get away.
Yeah.
Just ignore them. Because her emotional body has completely taken over and is literally the driving force. Our emotional body. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, and all rationality goes out the window.
Here, I know. Like, there's a few exes in the closet where I go, oh Jesus. But it's so easy, and I think a lot of women out there, a lot of men as well, listeners, can totally relate.
Mm.
And it stems back to our childhood. It always does.
Yeah.
Can you tell
And
your
our need
listeners?
to be loved.
Oh,
We
100%.
just, as humans, we need each other, we need relationship, we need connection, and our biggest, we want to be loved. So,
Yeah. Deep down.
I see that, like the little girl who just wanted to be loved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So can you tell your listeners, what was that turning point? We always have to have a breakdown moment before we have the breakthrough. Where was that point in your life where you said enough's enough? Or was it a step by step?
Yeah. Well, I would say, I thought back when I left my second husband, I just got up one day and left because he was very abusive, and I just said, I'm not having my children live like this, and I just got up and I left. So I thought it was back then.
Yeah.
Because after that, then I did all the, I had started the training as a psychotherapist, and then I was doing mindfulness. I did mindfulness training and the Reiki, and ultimately then the yoga Nidra. And I thought it was back then that I had that breakthrough, but actually it was really, I think, when Basil literally got up one morning and left, and he says, he told me that God was telling him he needed to spend more time with his children. And anyway, there were issues in our relationship right from the beginning, and he was out of there. And he literally got up, walked out the door, and I never heard from him again. Now, I didn't try to make contact either, because I was just like, there was some part of me saying, you're not going to beg,
Yeah.
You are better than this. And I deleted all of his messages so that I wouldn't go back reading to try and find clues. Torture myself, exactly, which I've definitely done in the past. And there was definitely a real strength there, even though I was on my knees. Like I was really on my knees. I was crying. I was like, what is going on? But I would say then there was literally just early, probably not that even that long ago, probably, October, November, I just had a breakthrough of that whole, how I've abandoned myself in every relationship I've been in. And I was probably just one of those moments listening to the astrology and listening to what's going on in the planet, but also seeing my own, like, I know some people may not relate to this, but I am a Virgo sun, Pisces rising, and Sagittarius moon. So I'm very mutable. And I was listening to something recently about how these signs, as wonderful as they are, they can go with the flow, but they can also be very chameleon.
Yeah.
And it just really hit me like, oh my God, that's me. Like I mold myself into a relationship and what the other person wants and try to meet their needs in the hope that then I'll get my needs met and I'll be loved. And so really it was only sometime this year, probably October, November, that is actually, I was like, no more. I'm not abandoning myself anymore in any relationship. And I've done it not only in,
with friendships,
romantic relationships. I've done it in friendships. I've done it with my family. I've done it, but it's one of the things I would say I certainly don't do it with my children. And I am so grateful to them because I can they're like my teachers, really, when I look at them, they're my teachers, and they've been huge support. Like they are my security. Sometimes I look back and think, where's my security? But it's them,
Oh, 100%. It's like they're your North Star.
Completely, yeah.
Like, fair play to you for just saying enough's enough. And I think that's what it is. I think we have to be experience so much, and it just takes that one moment where we say, I've had enough. I'm actually not doing this anymore. And it is that what people would call that breakdown moment, and then it's that breakthrough feeling of, I can't handle this anymore. And you could have buried your head in the sand and just with any situation, to our listeners, for years. Seen all the red flags, ignored them all. But there's just something that happens when our own soul just literally switches on and takes gears and goes, enough's enough.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And that looking, I think for me, it was always looking for that security outside myself.
Yeah.
And when I realised that actually the security I was looking for has to come from within. 100%. Once I feel secure within my body, once I feel supported by myself, I can then receive the support that I'm looking for outside. So
yeah, because we often think what we need is outside of us. And that's why it's so important for meditation, you know, because for people, and I'm probably going to be right when I say this, up until a certain point, you wouldn't have sat in stillness. You would have actually, in fact, hated in your own company.
Absolutely.
And you'd be constantly thinking of everyone else outside of you, running to them. Is there a crisis? I'm there, you know, fixing everything. Like, it's just, when you think about it, you're like, flipping hell, I was running around like a blue arse fly for years, you know? Given because of that external validation. If I do this, they're going to like me more. And I remember in my head with various friends of hearing that if I like fall over backwards for them, they'll love me and accept me for who I am. Because I remember when I was younger, when I was a little kid, I used to say, treat others how you want to be treated. And that was another lesson that hit me in the face. Because not everyone thinks and feels the same as me.
Yeah. Exactly.
But it took me about 40 years to figure that one out. We get there in the end in our healing journey. So what did you start to do in terms of, like, you know, a lot of listeners are out there probably at that stage of the breakdown at the moment. Like, they're going, what do I do? Like, what's the tools? How do I sit in stillness? Like, what's the day-to-day thing? Can you tell the listeners what you started to do?
So one of the things that I had started doing back in 2020 in lockdown was yoga nidra.
Yeah.
That's why then I trained. Yeah, it's so amazing. And I trained then as a facilitator in 2022, and now I run circles, you know, rest through the Celtic wheel and rest shocks, as I call them. And so that's something that I really like. I do yoga nidra every day, and even on the days where I didn't feel where I could sit still or lie still, I just would, you know, sit up doing it or whatever, but I would do a yoga nidra. And with that, you know, you set a sankalpa, so an intention. And so I keep repeating the intention again and again. And one of them was around, I am safe, I am love, you know, I am enough, I am worthy, just all of those affirmations, if you like. But even if at the time I wasn't feeling them, even at the time it was like you're saying them, but it doesn't seem to be landing. And that really then, you know, has resourced me through. I also then have a wonderful, beautiful friend who's training as a somatic experiencing teacher. And so she asked me to be one of her guinea pigs. So
I love that.
Yes, please. I was like, anybody wants anything, I'm here, I'll do it. So that was amazing because that really got me into my body.
Yeah.
Because one of the things I will say as a psychotherapist, and I would say that Virgo, Mercury up in your head, the criticism always, you know, up here, not really going in, going into my body because it didn't feel safe, you know, it just did not feel safe to be in my body.
Yeah, 100%.
And then sea swimming. I love just getting into the sea. There's something about that shocking you back into reality.
Yeah.
Walking in nature, and I also facilitate a program called The Artist's Way. I don't know if
I've come across that. Yes.
Yeah. And so one of the tools on The Artist's Way is morning pages, which is like a stream of consciousness writing.
Loving.
So I would write that just that like a brain dump, just write, keep on writing, getting it out onto the page so that it wasn't staying up in my head and I wasn't beating myself up and criticizing and judging and questioning and what did I do wrong? Because, you know, as much as there was a part of me that knew for sure it wasn't about me, this was about him. Of course, there's also that part was going, if only I'd done this, if only I'd done that, and maybe if I'd done so a lot of writing, a lot of that writing.
But that's all about forgiveness. Yeah. You know, it's forgiveness for yourself, because I think a lot of people just, they go into like, you know, I'm an idiot, why did I do this? And they get frustrated with themselves, and then they're like, well, what's the point? I'll just give up. Yeah. But it's about forgiving ourselves, because that's the unhealed version of ourselves. And I find in my own healing journey, I separate myself into two, the unhealed version and the healed version. And when I see my shadow coming through, maybe at home, or I feel something like, you know, with my mom, like maybe I might get real frustrated and go, oh, I'm actually back to being the inner child again. And then I'm like, oh, the unhealed version's kind of creeping out here a little bit. I need to move back to center. You know, I'm not that little child anymore. I don't need to retaliate. You know what I mean? I don't need to be on guard. Isn't it funny, like, that we hold so much, like, anger or frustration towards ourselves when we do these things, but we need to be kinder to ourselves, because there's no manual out there. Like, we're not born and next minute here's some manual of how to win at life. Now there is plenty of self-help books out there, but you physically do not have that manual. Here's how to migrate through your life and all the shit that may happen.
No, exactly.
We're stumbling around in the dark. The whole world is winging it.
For sure.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I would say, Christine, I'm very good. Like, I have so many books on all of that, you know, so many self-help books. But one thing I tried to do was not go down the rabbit hole of looking at all the self-help books, because then I just get confused. And so I was really, as much as I could be, trying to do things that were keeping me inside rather than up in my head. You know?
No,
and
just...
but not that I was able to do it all the time, but I would just say, looking back, it definitely, you know, and it's only a year, so I'm sure there are still going to be things that are going to come up. No doubt. But I've definitely seen now the gift in what happened. It literally, I would say, woke me up to realizing that I deserve better.
Yeah, this needs to be looked at.
And I don't need to abandon myself in a relationship to have a relationship. Like, I don't need to abandon me to have a relationship with someone.
It's like I always say, someone has to come into your life to complement your life. You know, and when someone doesn't complement your life, I'm not saying complement you, I mean, you are solid in yourself and confident what you want, what your needs need to be met, etc., etc. For someone to come in, it's not about dimming light to then mold into him. It's about the two of you shining together at the same frequency, the same vibration. And I think that's the secret to a marriage, like a relationship, is when the two of you can shine at the same time. And that is alignment in a relationship.
Yeah, for sure. And also at the same time, I believe that our relationships are where we, you know, have the biggest capacity to heal. And so, like, when we can, you know, because I know for a fact I'm not going to, you know, we're not going to find somebody that's just, you know, you're never going to have a trigger again, or you're never going to get upset again, or you're never going to have any issues, but it's being able to meet them and address them and work with them together.
Yes, like, I find my husband is my biggest teacher. Like, we're together 21 years, and wow, like, there's been moments where it's like, right, that's it, I'm gonna actually just put, like, just that's, I give up. You know, I was like, that's it. And but then, you know, it's like, well, hold on, what's he teaching me? Do you know what I mean? And then you bring in then your childhood stuff into it, you know, and then he does, and then it's just like, oh, actually, hold on, we're in this bubble here, we need to sort it out, you know. By far not perfect, But I always think sometimes there's perfection in the imperfection.
Oh yeah, exactly. Perfectly imperfect.
Yeah, we all have shadow, we all have light, and it's about
Yeah,
accepting every part of ourselves and each other.
exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Amarie, have you anything that you want to say before we finish up to our listeners today?
I would just say to anybody who may be, who's been through what I've been through or has come out the other end, or may even feel that they're in a relationship that's similar, that dark triad of, the manipulative, the narcissistic, but then also very, very, can be very charming, just to go really gentle with yourselves, show compassion towards yourself, and just remember that we're all human, just trying to do the best we can with what we have. I would definitely say compassion is one of the things that has been a big learning for me, rather than the criticism, turning it towards compassion and remembering that in the end of the day, we're all only human, and we go through relationships and situations, and they all are an opportunity to learn about ourselves, I believe. As you said earlier, Christine, that soul, just really connecting to your soul, and just be really tender and gentle and kind as much as possible with whatever you're going through.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Amarie, thank you for bringing your honesty, wisdom, and lived truth into this space today. And your willingness to speak openly, without shame, without bypassing, is exactly the conversation that makes it powerful. So, just to everyone out there, thank you for sitting in this circle with us today. If something in this episode stirred something in your heart, let it move you, journal on it, breathe with it, or come back to it whenever you need. If you'd like to go deeper into the work, you can join me for a private one-to-one session, retreats, online activations, or inside the Embodied Energy Inner Circle. Amarie, for anyone that wants to get a taste of your yoga nidra classes and your circles, where can they reach you?
I have a website called soulmattersireland.ie. And that's all the information is there, like our online circles and our in-person events. And we'll be running a day event for the autumn, not the autumn equinox, the spring equinox. Yeah.
Brilliant. I'll have it in the show notes anyway.
All details are on our website anyway. So.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Amarie, and thanks for listeners again. Talk to you later. Thank you for being part of the Healing Circle today. If something in this conversation touched you, let it land gently. You don't need to rush to understand it. Your body already knows. Remember, your story matters, and when it's shared in the right space, it has the power to heal, not just you, but others too. If you feel called to explore this work more deeply, you'll find links to my sessions, retreats, and offerings through Embodied Energy Wellness in the show notes. Until we meet again, go gently, stay connected, and trust the wisdom within you. Thank you for being here.